All right, hi guys. This is the second of the two worksheets. So this is the Trig word problems worksheet 2, and this is the walkthrough. So I'm not going to go and solve any of these problems. We're just simply going to draw the triangles and make sure you set the problems up right, at least the drawings up right. All right. So number one, you have a tower cast a 60-foot cast a shadow that is 60 feet long. So we have a tower, some sort of tower. Okay. It's going to cast a shadow that is 60 feet long. So shadows are on the ground. So there is your 60-foot shadow on the ground. There's your right angle. When the angle of elevation to the sun, so here would be the sun. So the angle of elevation, that's the angle going up, is 65 degrees. Okay, we want to know how tall the tower is going to be. And so that's the setup you're going to use for number one. Okay, Matt is standing on top of a cliff that is 305 feet above a lake. So here is a cliff. And there's Matt up there. Okay, on the cliff that is 305 feet above a lake. So here's the lake. Okay, there's a boat in the lake. Okay, the angle of depression down to the boat. All right, the angle of depression here. All right, so here's our horizontal. Right, so Matt's up on the cliff looking down. Right, he's looking down at an angle of 42 degrees. Okay, and we want to know how far the boat is from the base of the cliff. All right, so again, alternate interior angles would be congruent if the lines are parallel, and so you have two horizontals, so they're parallel. And so here's your setup for number two. Okay, number three, Matt is standing on top of a cliff. So again, we have Matt on a cliff. Okay, above a lake, the measurement of the angle of depression is 42 degrees. Okay, how far is the boat from Matt? So again, you have a lake out here, and you have a boat in the lake. Okay, here's Matt. So there's our triangle. Okay, the angle of elevation. So again, here's our second horizontal, is 42 degrees. Okay, alternate interior, that means this is also 42 degrees. The cliff was 305 feet tall. And now we want to find this hypotenuse here, because now we're looking for how far is the boat from Matt. So in number two, we were finding how far from the cliff the boat was. So that X was down here. Now we're finding how far from Matt the boat is. So that's the diagonal, the horizontal here. I'm sorry, not the horizontal, the diagonal. All right, so that's going to be X. All right, number four, a ladder is 20 feet long. A ladder that is 20 feet long is leaning against the side of a building. So here's the building. Here's the ground. Okay, and then you have a ladder leaning against it. Okay, the angle formed between the ladder and the ground is 75 degrees. There's your right angle. There's 75 degrees, the angle formed by the ladder and the ground. How far is the bottom of the ladder from the base of the building? How far is the bottom of the ladder from the base of the building? So that's going to be X. Okay, and we know the ladder is 20 feet long. So there's our right triangle. We have a hypotenuse that's 20 and an adjacent side that is X, which we're trying to solve for. Okay, number 5. A ladder that is 30 feet long needs to reach 27 feet up a building. 27 feet up a building. Here's a ladder that's 30 feet long. Okay, what should the angle off of the vertical be? Okay, so here's the ground. What should the angle off of the vertical be? So what they're really asking for here is this angle here. What should the angle off of the vertical be? Right? What should the angle off of the vertical be? You know, that really doesn't make much sense. I think they're talking about the angle of elevation. So I think we're really looking for this angle, right? And if you're solving for an angle, you're using inverse. And then you got to figure out which inverse function you want to use. Okay. You're standing 50, number 6, you're standing 50 meters from a hot air balloon that is preparing to take off. So here's the hot air balloon. You're standing, and then here's you. You're standing 50 meters away. The angle of elevation to the top of the balloon is 28 degrees. So here's the balloon. Okay, angle of elevation to the top is 28 degrees. We want to find the height. So there would be your setup for that one. Okay, a man in a boat that is floating 175 feet from the base of a 200-foot cliff. So here is a 200-foot cliff. Okay, he's in a boat down in the sea, 175 feet away. He's 175 feet away. And we want the angle of depression between the cliff and the boat. So again, from the cliffs, if the cliff is the observer, right, we want this angle. Right, but again, we know that if you have two horizontals, those are parallel lines. So this is also going to be x. So what we're really looking for is this angle here. And when you're solving for an angle, you have to use one of the inverse trig functions. All right, number 8, John wants to measure the height of a tree. He walks exactly one, so we have a tree. Okay, he walks exactly 100 feet from the base and looks up. The angle from the ground to the top of the tree is 33 degrees. Okay. And we want to find the height of the tree. So there's your right triangle, and now you would be able to find the height. Right? The flagpole in front of CB East casts a shadow that is 40 feet long. So we have a flagpole. All right, and here's the sunshine. Again, shadows are on the ground, so if it casts a shadow, the shadow length is going to be on the ground, so 40 feet. When the measurement of the angle of elevation of the sun is 31 degrees, how tall is the flagpole? So there would be your right triangle setup there. All right, Kelly is flying a kite to which the angle of elevation is 70 degrees. So we're going to assume Kelly's eyes are on the ground. So the string is 65 meters long. Okay, angle of elevation is 70 degrees. Okay, and we want to find how far the kite is above the ground. All right, 2 more to look at. A straight water slide is 175 feet from above ground and 200 feet long. So we have 175 feet in the air and then 200 feet long. We want the angle of depression. So the angle of depression, right, there's your horizontal. Right, so our angle of depression is right here. So we know that we have, again, here's the ground. So we have two horizontals, so alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, and then you have your right triangle. You have your angle you're solving for, and then 175 is opposite, 200 is hypotenuse. So you got to figure out, because we're solving for an angle, which inverse trig function to use. All right, number 12, from a 200-foot observation tower on a beach. So here's your observation tower on a beach. A man sights a whale in difficulty. The angle of depression to the whale. So there's a man up there, right? And then there's a whale. Okay. The angle of depression was 7 degrees. How far is the whale from the shoreline? Right. So we're looking for the distance between this point here and the whale. So we're going to call that x. If this is 7 degrees, we know this is also 7 degrees. And we knew that the tower was 200 feet tall. Okay, so again, you only need to pick 6 of those. Pick any of those 6 that you want to solve for. And that's the trig word problems worksheet number 2. Okay, we set them up, all the questions up, draw out all the diagrams. You should be able to solve from there.